Welcome into the VerdeVUE Podcast, an Austin FC podcast brought to you by KVUE, the ABC affiliate in Austin, Texas. I'm Jake Garcia, cultural reporter Brittany Flowers along for the ride as well. Later on in the program, we will talk to Austin FC defender Ben Sweat, who unfortunately is out for the year with a torn ACL. But that did not prevent us from talking with him and talking about the rehab process that he is going through currently. As you can see, we'll address the elephant in the room. Coach Paul Livingood is not on today's podcast. His perfect attendance has been spoiled by having to serve his red card podcast. It happens to all of us. It comes for all of us eventually. When you log as many minutes as he does, at a certain point, you're going to get hit with either one too many yellow cards or maybe even just a straight red. So that means, Brittany Flowers, for the next hour or so, you have to put up with me and only me. Think you can handle that?
No, I can never handle it. Well, it's hard enough when Paul is here.
Yeah. There's no.
He's like a mediator for us.
Yeah. There's no one to play the intermediary role between the two of us. But a setback is just a comeback you haven't met. So hopefully you can come back stronger and better than ever after this.
Say it again.
A setback is just a comeback you haven't met. So if you approach this as,
wow,
minor setback for a major comeback, that's, I think you'll be stronger for it.
It's really incredible, Jake. You just always have them in there, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Speaking of coming back from setbacks, we should talk about some of the things that just happened recently.
Well, we should, because the last time that we recorded one of these podcasts was 2 weeks ago, and Austin FC has played 3 games since we last recorded. So buckle up, get ready to hop on this roller coaster, because since we last recorded, Austin FC lost 2 games and then probably put together its best performance of the season, its latest match, which was a 3-1 win over Portland. So let's start with, I guess, the bad news first. The bad news is that Austin FC is still tied for last place in the Western Conference. They still are 7 points out of a playoff position. The good news is, though, they beat up on Portland again. I think this team wishes they could play Portland every single match, because in those 2 matches, they've scored 7 goals, which is 40% of what they've scored so far this season. Brittany, what do you think it is about Portland that brings out the best of the Black and Verde?
I don't even know if it's a Portland thing. This was by far the most creative the team has been. They had like 7 dummies in the game. I was like counting them. I know that sounds like a stupid way to base creativity, but anytime I see a team that's out there doing dummies, it means that they're communicating well, they're passing well, and they're being super creative. And I think a lot of that has to do with Sebastian. I think that he brings this, like, I don't know, it's almost like this calming presence. He's not super showy. He doesn't try to beat 3 players. He uses his brain a lot. He uses 1-2 quick passes. He moves, passes the ball, moves, wants to get it back. And I think everybody has kind of followed suit. I think we saw that in the first half in the Vancouver game, where I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening, because that's the soccer that I love. I don't care about the awesome skills where you're beating 100 players or whatever. I love quick passing. We saw it in the first half for Vancouver. Second half, I don't know if they were tired. Something was way off in that second half. It was really bad. First half was so exciting. Then in this game against Portland, it actually like worked. They kept that up. I think that when people were keeping the ball too long, that's when we would lose it a lot. But the passing was just, I think it's such an important part of soccer is quick passing. It's faster than if you're trying to dribble. Yep. I don't know. I hope that this is how they play from now on. Second half was a little slower.
When you score 3 goals, when you score 3 goals in the first half, it's easy to kind of sit back and be like, that was a heck of an accomplishment. Let's coast the rest of the way.
I mean, I guess, but as a fan, I was like, we're going to win this thing 6-0, But I'll take it. it. And I look forward to seeing the creativity, because I think that I don't know, maybe it's Sebastian's presence. I mean, As soon as I saw him in Vancouver, I was like, oh, he's a hard worker on and off the ball.
Yeah. And it's funny because in the post-game presser, Josh Wolff mentioned pretty much exactly what you did about his overall calming presence on the team. So yet another
I want you to know, I
example.
never watch these things. I never listen to them. Josh Wolff and I are just on the same page.
Yep. This is just the latest example of that. But for his efforts, Sebastian Driussi, along with Diego Fagundez, was named to the MLS Team of the Week. Driussi, of course, scoring his first goal. It was the third goal in the first half, set up by a beautiful pass by Diego. I mean, the way that he just kind of let the defense come to him and allowed his guys to settle into an open position when he was on the end line, that was so beautiful. And thankfully, Driussi knew what to do with it and put it away. That was also just after Diego scored a beautiful goal on his own. Like, the cross by Nick Lima was so pure. And then Diego just so calm. Nice little flick of the head right into the
It was beautiful. But of course, I love goals. The lead up to that, the like previous 10 passes to that, like it was why I love soccer. It is why I feel like it is so beautiful. I mean, everybody was a part of it. They were working it all the way around. It was beautiful soccer, worked it from the back to the front. And that goal was like maybe my favorite goal.
Yeah.
Of the season so far.
Everything about it was just so clean.
And then of course there was the PK.
Yep.
I was screaming when the ref was like, I was standing up. I just stand up and do this a lot. Which is the opposite of the John Gallagher. Exactly. That's exactly right. But yes, luckily the right call was made there.
So that PK came from Cecilio Dominguez, noteworthy because it kind of symbolized him getting out of a recent funk. If you recall the game before that, he was benched, 30 minutes into the game, for a combination of things. Josh Wolff said he had been feeling under the weather. He had noticed that, his energy and his tempo and his pace wasn't, what we would expect from a typical Cecilio Dominguez. And it had gotten to the point where Josh Wolff felt like, hey, he's become a liability. So I'm going to send a message and bench my best player. Cecilio responded, though. How important do you think that was, not only for his confidence, but just for the overall psyche of the team?
Well, yeah, I think that they're like, if you go a while without, let's say you're scoring goals. Then if you go games without scoring goals, it affects you mentally. You're like, do I remember how to score goals? And then you start realizing how hard it actually is to score goals. And then you're just like in this cycle, the more that you miss, the more that you're like, oh my gosh, do I even remember how to score a goal? But now this happens. Did you like the way that they started? So dropping Sebastian to the midfield and having Cecilio play that center forward? Because I really liked it a lot. I was a fan.
I was going to ask you about that. So Sebastian debuted as the number 10, playing right behind the striker. And then Cecilio was center forward, which is not his, the position that he said he's most comfortable with. I think when Moussa Djitte is ready to go, that's where he plays. And then it allows Cecilio to slide over to, left winger.
Right.
So, I mean, early returns on that formation, definitely positive, because I think Sebastian Driussi is definitely suited for a role like that. Whereas Alex Ring plays the defensive midfield position and really commands and controls things back there. Driussi as that, but for the attack, I think looked beautiful.
And I love watching him and Diego play. I think they're very similar, and they both have they both work really hard. When they lose the ball, they work extremely hard to get it back within the first 5 seconds. Watching them play together, I feel like they have some sort of connection. Yeah. Beautiful soccer. So happy about it. Can't wait for the next one.
Austin FC snapped a 3-game losing streak with that win against Portland. And we haven't even seen, I guess, the A team yet that that Josh Wolff has also kind of been waiting on. Do you think that we see Moussa Djitte in this next game in some capacity?
Has Josh Wolff said anything about it? Like, is he just
the latest? Well, and so we're recording this around 1:15 on Wednesday, August 25th, which is literally exactly when Josh Wolff is talking with other media members. So I'm assuming he's addressing that either as we speak or will soon. The latest that we've heard is just he's still, getting up to speed. He's training with the team. He's out of like the quarantine, like going through all the COVID protocol portion of this. I think now it's just like get him up to game speed. I mean, we're probably going to end up seeing him get the Sebastian Driussi treatment in that he'll debut either for the first half or the second half, right, and then be pulled. But yeah, like that's going to be the A lineup. When he is this team's striker, it allows Cecilio to go off to the side. And, that triangle game with the two of them and Driussi right behind him. I think that.
Do you think Diego's the one that you keep up there? Depending on the game, I guess.
Yeah, it probably depends on the opponent, in all honesty. And what part of the week they're in, if they're trying to get guys some rest, if it's like a midweek game, who knows? But yeah, the fact that we're recording this after we just saw that performance with Driussi is a whole lot better than after the Vancouver loss, because that was when this team was at a low point. And you know how I know that it was really at a low point? People on Twitter were literally looking for anything to complain about. And one of the things that they started to complain about, and I get it because I think it's funny, is the MakeJoshWolffVerde hashtag, because he hadn't been wearing green to any
Hold
of the
on.
games.
This is not a new thing. This is not from Vancouver.
But it came to a boiling point against Vancouver because it was a 3-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. People were upset. And it finally got addressed in a press conference. First of all, before we get into where we're at now, what are your thoughts on this whole internet saga?
I mean, I'm very much pro wear your team's colors. I noticed it from the very beginning. And then of course I'm in the fan groups listening to what people are saying. And they're like, why isn't he doing it? Why isn't he doing it? So finally when it was addressed and he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I wear a size medium. If anybody wants, I'll wear whatever shade that you want. Mm-hmm. It looked good on him. And now that we played like that, he kind of has to keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Phil West of the Striker for asking that question. And kind of giving new life to this internet sensation that, as we've seen it unfold, it's gotten funnier and funnier in my opinion.
Coach Wolff was so happy after the game. I mean, I understand why, but it was the most smiley he's ever been when he was walking around the field. He was like, taking pictures with people. Like he was so excited. And I don't know, maybe him wearing green, the verde, Like,
he did say that shirt that he was wearing that was a shade of green wasn't as breathable as some of his other ones. And like,
okay, well, get new ones.
Yeah.
Whatever your favorite shirt is, buy it in the color that you need.
He said his favorite brand was Bonobos, which I can confirm as a big fan of Bonobos. I can't blame him for that. I don't know if they have the iteration of the shirt he's looking for in green, but that's not a question for me to answer. I'm sure there's an entire section of the Austin FC front office that is devoted to making sure Josh Wolff looks sharp on game days. Apparently, it had reached all the way up to Anthony Precourt, the owner, because he was like, "This is a problem. We got to get our head coach wearing green." And so like apparently he addressed that with Josh. So
I mean Josh would do it for the fans. Look at these fans.
He did. I think that's what he did. I think that's who he did it for at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't think he's trying to start like a war or anything. I also don't think he pays attention to anything that's written or said online by anyone.
He doesn't have Twitter, I don't think.
No. No. Good for him though, for being receptive, like,
Yeah.
especially because it was brought up like in the context of my team has just lost 3 games in a row. We are struggling right now. And a question about what I'm wearing is just brought up. I mean, you could take it one of two ways. Either it's thank you for asking this question because I would rather talk about anything other than my team being really bad right now. Or it's like, really, like you think I have that's on the top of my priority list is wearing green to a game. It led to good results. So we'll see if those good results continue.
Yes, absolutely.
So with that, that concludes our wrap up of what we missed. We're now going to switch gears and welcome in Ben Sweat, where we will ask him some of the hardest hitting questions you've ever heard. All right, guys, Austin FC defender Ben Sweat joins us now on the VerdeVUE podcast. Ben, thanks so much for being a fan of the program today. Unfortunately, you are out for the season with a torn ACL. You started the first 2 games for this expansion franchise, and in that second game, your season came to an end. So take us through how the rehab process is going and where you feel you're at physically right now.
Yeah, I mean, super disappointed. This was a big year to be part of this club, and the first of many. And I've tried to stay as a part of the club as I can off the field, and that's been tough. I guess the toughest part for me was the mental part of it, knowing that my whole season was done. It's like my first big injury in my whole career, and that was tough around the injury, the mentality of it, and that's gotten better. But yeah, the rehab process is long, and that's something that was really tough with it. I had to keep reminding myself I have another 4, 5, 6 months, which was very difficult because I've in my career I've never missed more than 1 game. I think my longest injury has been a concussion, and that's MLS protocol, a week to 2 weeks. So that it was tough. It's been tough, and it is getting better though now that I'm getting more active, more in a routine. I'm in a really good place now. I start running on the field actually this week. And hopefully come mid-September, end of September, I'll be doing individual training sessions with our strength guys. And then hopefully, by sometime in October, I'm being, non-contact with the team and out there with the boys again. So it's been long. I got surgery first week of May, but it's starting to get quick as I, become more busy and everything. And, I feel great. I'm ahead of schedule. The knee feels phenomenal. And, I can't wait to get back out there with the guys.
I'm so happy that you mentioned the mental side of it. So I'm about 2 years and a week from when I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
And not everybody mentions just how hard it is mentally. Do you all have a sports psychologist?
We don't, not that I know of. I'm sure we probably have like a reference. I didn't really use one. I mean, I'm pretty close with our training staff, so they were pretty hands-on those first few weeks of the injury, and those first few weeks after the surgery for me were the toughest. But yeah, I mean, I tried to talk and open up about it. It's not easy. It's really not easy.
Did you have a ton of people reach out to you? Because obviously it's kind of a common injury when it comes to soccer players. I'm sure that there are people around you who have maybe gone through the same thing.
Yeah, no, I've had a ton of people, old buddies of mine, old teammates. Aaron Long, my buddy, actually just tore his Achilles around the same time as me. So he's going through it just as long as the process with me. So guys that have had injuries, I've gotten advice, and they've shown their support, and that's like the biggest thing for me. And to have Aaron Schoenfeld, Ulysses Segura, and Danny Hosen, who all have huge long season-long injuries. We've had like a nice little support group within the facility, and we've helped each other out. And I definitely think that's important, having that little support group after that.
The injury obviously came at a time that was kind of unfortunate because it happened before you were able to, step foot and play a game inside Q2 Stadium. How disappointing was that? Just, having to now take in this atmosphere from a spot on the bench and not being able to be out there with the guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a good point. Mentally, that's probably been the toughest for me. Like, the injury was tough, but I think sitting up there in our player suite and looking down at these guys and seeing this crowd every single game has been so tough. As you know, we had COVID last year. I played 2 games last year, LAFC and DC United when I was with Inter Miami, and we had full fan capacity. But since then, I haven't played in front of more than 1,000 people, and to have a fan base like this in a stadium, an atmosphere like this, where you just feed off it. Like, I'm up there in the suite and I get the energy as if I'm on the field. So I can't wait to be back out there on the field. I'm sure the fans are looking forward to it because I only got 2 away games this year for them. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to get on that field and be in that atmosphere.
The return is going to be so sweet.
Yeah, really. Is the expectation to be fully healthy, fully recovered, and ready to go for the start of next year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, if they really wanted to push me, I probably could have, they could have probably pushed me into playoffs, later part of playoffs. But now they put me on IR. I'm done for the year. I can really, come back stronger. And I have a full off season and then a full preseason. So it's even, I have extra months on hand. And some of the exercises I've been doing already, I've scored stronger than I was in preseason before the injury. So I'm in a good place right now, and I just need to, keep up the positivity and keep working hard. That's all I got to do.
I think having setbacks like that make you stronger. Maybe it's a gratitude thing. Maybe it's something like that. Obviously you never want it to happen again, so you work a little bit harder, but yeah, it's usually, it's usually 9 months before you can return to actually really playing. Is it the same for professional athletes?
I mean, I was given the 6 to 9 month range.
Yeah.
I guess it's all dependent on how everyone's body is different. Everyone has different reactions. You know what I mean? No one is perfect on any one side of their body. So I think they kind of just put it in a bigger time frame just in case. I mean, if I'm feeling crappy at 6 months, it's okay. I still have a few more months to go for the healing process and that strength to fully return. But yeah, like I said, I have a full off season and a full preseason, to get ready for next year, which I'm super excited about.
The guy who stepped into your spot in the starting lineup, Jan Kolmanic, he's been great. And he was kind of a little bit of an unknown just because of how young he is, his, lack of experience in the MLS. How have you seen his game grow this year? And has it been kind of you now mentoring him type partnership to where you're letting him know hey, this is what I'm seeing and this is what you should expect as the season wears on? Yeah,
100%. I mean, he was one of the first guys to come up to me in Colorado because, being behind somebody you never want to start playing because of an injury, you know what I mean? But it happens. I mean, that's what happened for me, when I exploded in New York. Once Moussa Djitte got injured, I ended up playing a full season, and the next year I was with the men's national team just like that within a year and a half. But no, he's been great. It's not an easy league to come into, but he works hard. He's got a good mentality as a young kid, and he's definitely a good player. That's what Josh wants. He wants 2 guys in every position who can battle and compete and push each other. And whether I'm starting one weekend or he's starting the next weekend, Josh and the coaching staff want to have that flexibility to put whoever in whenever, and they get the same work rate, the same result. So he's done well, and it's definitely been a change for him, with these midweek games and him being a younger guy. But I think the coaching staff has done really well with rotating guys, giving Aiden some time, putting Nick at left back or Hector at left back sometimes. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a nice little partnership, him and I, next year when I'm back healthy.
That's great to hear. So how's Austin? Do you love it?
Oh my God. Yeah. The wife and I would love it. Absolutely love it. We fortunately we bought a home in Miami on FaceTime, and we closed in January, moved in January. So we just got in before the market and everything absolutely exploded. And we're huge restauranteers, so we love to go out to eat and drink. And I don't there's always something there. We've probably been to 70 different places, but we keep finding something else, And
Do you all have a favorite spot?
Man, I would tell you my favorite. My favorites are Red Ash, Wu Chow, Jeffries. As for like the kind of vibe, we love going to Perla's. Perla's has a great patio. Obviously,
Yeah, it does.
There's so many. There's too many.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that you're going out and trying spots and enjoying the city.
Yeah, exactly. The injury, everything happens for a reason. So I wouldn't normally have the time on my hands to do that or to do the fishing I've been doing, interacting and doing some appearances. You know what I mean? I wouldn't normally have that time if I was playing 3 games a week. So I'm kind of grateful for that.
Yeah, you mentioned the fishing aspect. I've noticed on your social media that you're really into it. So how have the waters of Central Texas been treating you?
Man, I've just started to like really get more into it now that I have kind of like a little routine going, so I know my days off. But no, it's been solid, man. I've been doing really well. I do a lot of fly fishing, so I've been going out to like Walter E. Long Lake early mornings and fishing from like 6 to 9. And I've been whacking some nice bass, nice like 3-4 pounders on the fly rod. I've met a few captains and people here that I've gone out with, so it's a good time, man. It's a good area, good fishery.
I love
That's
it.
pretty
I
cool.
love it. Hey, one final thing before we get to Brittany's rapid fire. Part of the theme of these player interviews that we've been doing, or one of them at least, is we've asked them about their fashion choices and their pregame attire of choice. I noticed recently you're rocking the new Zilker Austin FC belt.
Yeah.
Tell me about that partnership and tell me what makes that such a good product.
No, I mean, they're a terrific group of guys. I've been speaking to them for past over a month before all of this even happened. And they're great guys, great company, badass belt. Who wouldn't want like this Verde belt that just kind of represents Texas as a whole? So yeah, man, we got a partnership with them now. And, I'm sure we'll start seeing the fans rock them. I know the players, we all got a belt and we're all loving it. So I'm excited to see what else they come out with. I know Andrew DeLallo had they came out with another piece. I don't know what it's called.
A bolo tie?
Yeah, bolo tie. Yeah. So Andrew was rocking that. So I'm sure they'll keep coming up with some stuff for us.
Do you plan your game day outfits in advance, or are you a day of type of guy?
I'm a day of. I'm
Okay.
a day of. I got plenty of clothes. I can just go in there, whip something together.
Okay. Are you ready for a rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Jake, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for the toughest questions Ben will be asked all day.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Ben, but I got to do it. It's the job,
I've done them before. It's not my first time, so let's see what you got.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see how you do then. Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
He's quick. What is your favorite store?
Bass Pro.
He stays on brand.
Dang,
he stays
man.
on brand.
All right. Okay. Who's the funniest person on the team?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. I'd have to put maybe I think Danny Hostin's a fun guy. Ulysses Segura's a funny guy, and I'd have to put myself in the mix as well.
Oh, he's out here. He's nominating himself, just like Kakuta did. What is the best dessert?
Best dessert. I'd have to say best dessert. Man, Tiny's milk and cookies, chocolate chip cookie.
Okay. When's the last time you took a selfie?
Probably with my wife. The last time we were out at dinner a few days ago.
Okay. What should people get red and yellow cards for in real life?
Driving. Oh my God. Driving. 100%.
It's always driving. Everybody's answer has been driving.
Have you noticed like a significant downturn in the quality of drivers that live in this city?
Man, I thought Florida was bad, and I'll tell you what, it is. I get road rage, but I mean, I'm just like always irritated when I'm on the road here for some reason.
Dang it. Calm down, everybody. You'll get there eventually. Just be patient.
Really quick though,
Yeah.
like I feel a similar way, but then I also think that like this city is more than 1 million people, and yet the infrastructure of the roads is not designed to handle 1 million people. Like you got people merging onto the freeway from all different areas, and
It's
then
not
people
even,
off the freeway, and you have like 20 yards to make your turn. It like I don't even know how to be a good driver in this city. I'll be honest.
It's crazy, yeah. And you can see him doing construction and everything, which that just makes everything worse. So
Yep.
I feel like I'm a very patient driver. Like I don't know, throw on some music, listen to a podcast, you'll get there eventually.
You're one of these in the middle of the right lane.
No, I'm a good driver. I'm a very good driver. I just don't feel the need to yell at people or get mad. I'm like,
I'm just.
You said you get road rage.
I mean, but like, I'm not like yelling and flicking people off. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? You know, like, what's going through your mind right now?
He's sitting there just like yellow card.
Exactly.
Red card.
Oh man.
Okay, back into this. Back into this. Now that we know that you guys are not patient drivers, how do you like your steak cooked?
Medium.
The right answer.
Medium with a good little bit of red, pink.
So medium rare.
I
guess
totally
I know.
Rare.
Okay. Oh, well, we already know the answer to this. What do you do for fun?
Fishing.
Very fun. Okay. What type of animal do you wish you could shrink and then keep as a pet?
Oh man, this is I think my favorite animal has always been like a tiger. So probably like a tiger.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. Who's the best dressed on the team?
Best dressed. Julio Cascante's got a good swag. I think Seb Driussi coming in with his Russian designer, you know, so I think he's got a nice little swag to him. Yes. Ringy's good dressed.
Okay. Do you have a game day ritual?
Well, when I play, yes. You know, I have every pregame meal's breakfast for me. Scrambled eggs, toast, oatmeal, every time.
Even
that
if it's like
delicious.
A 4 o'clock in the afternoon meal?
It doesn't matter. Whenever I'll eat, I mean, I'm one of those people I can eat breakfast all day, every day.
Okay. What's your go-to dance move if you're thrown into a dance circle?
Just probably just like one of these, you know, maybe like drink in one hand, just casual, laid back.
That's good. I love it. Okay, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Go-to karaoke song, probably some Queen.
Which song? Bohemian Rhapsody.
Probably the classic. Probably Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
I forgot how that goes. Could you sing it so you can remind me?
My throat's a little dry. Maybe another time.
Dry throat. Got it. Okay. If you were not a player, if you could have any other job at Austin FC, what would it be?
Ooh, within Austin FC.
Yes.
Man, probably what Chris Quinn does, VP of partnerships. He's got us the Yeti deal. Like this guy is the most likable person you'll meet, and he can talk anyone's ear off. I like to think I can kind of mimic that. I'm a good public speaker, good talker, and probably something like that.
Very cool. Can we see your tattoo?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. This one says football. This is my jersey number, 22. This has been my jersey number my whole career. Yeah, I got a couple of them.
I love it. Are they always black?
Yeah, no colors.
Okay. Last question. In your best Matthew McConaughey impression, can you please say, all right, all right, all right?
All right.
That was good. Awesome. Okay, that's it. That was the last question.
All right. That was the toughest question, to be honest.
I know. People think it's going to be easy.
This guy's a legend. You can't mimic, you know, it's once in a lifetime, once in a generation.
I know. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited to see the comeback because in every experience that I've had with people who have torn their ACLs, they really do come back so much stronger. And I'm excited to see that in you for sure.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. I'm getting too eager over here. I'm getting really impatient, I guess you could say.
Well, all right. Well, hopefully you have a crew with you having your back.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right, Ben. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a nice day.
So we appreciate Ben Sweat for joining us on this edition of the VerdeVUE podcast. A thought that I had, Brittany, we talked a little bit about his pregame fashion. We've already told Sebastian Berhalter that he should start a segment called Fashion with Sebastian. He said Sebastian Driussi was among the best dressed on the team. So this might be a two-way street here with this fashion with Sebastian. Two Sebastians getting in on the high-class fashion.
It's a walk-off. Have you seen Zoolander?
I haven't, no. There are a lot of movies that I haven't seen that I should have seen. And I mean, you could pretty much name any kind of cult following movie and I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. Jake, I've been disappointed in you before.
But
many times. Almost daily. But I'm more disappointed that you haven't seen Zoolander. Well, great. Never mind. We can't talk about it then. Anyway,
was there a reference you were going to make for the people?
I said it's a walk-off, which is something from Zoolander because it's models, and then they're trying to decide who's the best model, so they have a walk-off.
Okay.
It's a great movie, Jake. You really should see it.
That went.
Move on to the next thing because now I'm mad at you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is to talk about the next game for the Black and Verde. That comes your way Sunday night football edition of Austin FC at home at Q2 Stadium. They take on FC Dallas. It's a 7:00 kick, an intrastate rivalry against a team that Austin FC has recently played and we recently lost to. That was the game, if you recall, Brittany, in which none of the three designated players started. And that drew some controversy. I have to believe that this time around, all three of them will be in the starting lineup, right? I
would guess so. I think so. I mean, I would hope so. After our last performance, I think that they have to. But that was also the game where we had an insane amount of fans travel, where I felt like, I mean, I was sitting right in front of them. So I was like, they're louder than everybody else in this whole stadium. I don't know if that was true or not, but I don't think that Dallas will travel quite like we did.
If they do, hopefully they put them in the upper deck nosebleed portion of the stadium. And
they always do.
And hopefully they get that LSU band treatment.
Oh my God, he did it. He did it.
That's for the diehards of this podcast and my Twitter feed.
I definitely think it's a winnable game.
Yeah.
Especially if we continue what we just had. Creativity, movement, finding the spaces, not keeping the ball too long, and just playing some dang good, beautiful soccer.
Dallas sits in 11th place in the Western Conference, which is only one spot ahead of Austin, who is tied for last with the other team from Texas. That's Houston. Interesting times that we live in, to where all three Texas-based teams are in the cellar of the Western Conference. So not sure what that says about the quality of soccer in this state, but for Austin, it's good news, and hopefully they can keep the good times going this week against Dallas. So the one last thing that I wanted to address is, like, this is a portion of the schedule in which Austin FC needs to start putting things together to make a run up the standings. They did a good job getting that train started last time out against Portland. And the reason I say that is they're getting healthier, they're getting the reinforcements, and they don't have games squeezed up against each other. There is a week of separation between their last game and this game. Same thing for this game and their next game. A total of 4 games will have gone by in which they've had time to rest up and recover. So you would expect to see an energized group Sunday night at Q2 Stadium to close out this homestand. What do you think?
Yeah. And I think that, every time they step onto the field, they learn a little bit more about each other, how they all play, and they work a little bit better together. So I think, and, introducing the new players will, you might think, oh, they still have to kind of figure it out. But then when you see what Sebastian has done and he has brought in his skill, I think it really opened up so much for the team. And hopefully Moussa does the same exact thing. I think we're going to do great at this end of the season, but I'm also an extremely positive person. What do you think?
That you are. No, I think,
Yes.
I think it's a winnable game for sure. Playing at home always helps. Getting healthy always helps. Also knowing what the opponent is going to come at you with helps as well. And FC Dallas is not exactly heading in the right direction. I mean, since playing Austin, they have lost 2 games and tied 1. So it's hardly like they're on this runaway train to success. A team that is maybe trending in the opposite direction, though, is the one that you and I both play on. A team known to locals as ABC FC, the KVUE Rec League soccer team. And we won't spend too much time tooting our own horns, but Brittany, don't look now. We are on a 2-match non-losing streak. So we won our game 2 weeks ago. We tied our most recent game, which don't look now, but we are making a serious push for that final playoff spot.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Do you know when our game is on Monday? Do you know what time it's at?
I can check in 2 seconds because I have it written in my calendar every single week. 7:50 kick.
Who do we play? Do you know?
I think a team we've already lost to, which either that or
Not
that
this
or
time.
the defending champs, I want to say. One of those, yeah. So it won't be easy, but no one ever said it was going to be easy.
Here we go. Here's this inspirational quote.
No, I did want to give you a quick shout out though, because you put together one of the sweetest moves I have ever seen someone put together on a rec league soccer field.
Thank you so much.
It all started when I sent a little chip your way over on the right side, and you did some footwork that I couldn't do personally. And not only that, but you finished the footwork off with a beautiful meg of the opposing defender. The only thing that I wanted to, make a little bit different about that was finding me on the run across the middle of the field. And then it would have been on me to put it away. But yeah, it was beautiful. I hope you tweet it out so people can get a look of what we're talking about.
I will after this.
In that video, you can hear me just yelping with glee because I was like,
it went as it was planned. I was pretty excited. I am not one to display skill typically on the soccer field. I like to pass and move, as I have stated. But I was stuck in the corner and I knew all I needed to do was just get around this one girl. And I did it. And unfortunately, my cross was not as good as I wanted it to be. But whatever. Now I know I can do this thing, and we get better every week.
Someone needed to call an ambulance, and it wasn't for you. It was for the broken ankles that you administered to that poor woman on the right side there. I guess one final thing is Paul has now been absent from this podcast. He was absent from our latest soccer game. So I think, the question circling around some of the deep, dark channels of social media is he ever going to suit up again for either this podcast or Austin FC, or is he in the doghouse?
Or does he even exist? Did he even exist in the first place?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for the answer next week when we update you on Paul's ongoing status for both this podcast and our rec league soccer team.
Yes. Do you have the ending here? Do you want me to say it?
I have the Paul script pulled up.
Perfect.
If you would like to say it, feel free.
No, I'll say just the very end part.
All right, sounds good. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of the VerdeVUE podcast. You can get all your Austin FC related content at kvue.com/AustinFC or by texting soccer, the word soccer, to 512-459-9442. Remember, calling that number will not work. You have to text it. Also, if you're lucky enough to have the personal cell phone number of Brittany Flowers, feel free to text her the word soccer and she'll respond with,
yes, please.
also, I'm accepting payments and we'll give out Brittany's personal cell phone number at a low fee. So if you're so inclined, feel free, and you can have that phone number and feel free to send Brittany a text. With that concludes this episode of the VerdeVUE podcast. Paul instructed me to close out with the typical John Gallagher. See you next time.
That guy loves his fishing.
Yeah, he does.
Do you fish?
No.
Have you ever fished?
Yeah, I think once. My dad's really into it, but it was never my thing.
He never took you when you were a child?
No, he did once, and I just think I didn't like it. So.
Oh, damn. I caught my first fish when I was like 4 or 5.
So you're really into it.
When I used to be outdoorsy, and then I don't know.
I'm outdoorsy, but just more like hiking, camping, that kind of outdoorsy, and not like hunting, fishing outdoorsy.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a few things that my dad like grew up doing that I just never got into. He was a wrestler in high school. I never once wrestled in my life.
My dad does jiu-jitsu now.
Really?
Yeah, he got into it like after he retired, or like right before he retired from the fire department. And he's got a brown belt. Like, my dad's out here. Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
I know. He's like, every time he sees me, he goes, want me to show you a move? I go, no, leave me alone.